Minister Modi to deliver the keynote address virtually at the India Idea Summit today. The summit will discuss about the India-US cooperation in a post-COVID-19 world. Vice President M Venkaiah Naidu unveils the statue of Dr. R Ambedkar in the CAG building. Says today the CAG is following Baba Saheb's vision. CAG's Rajiv Narishi also addresses the program. Newly elected Rajya Sabha members to take oath today. For the first time, the ceremony will be done inside the House chamber when Parliament is not in session. Rajya Sabha Chairman M Venkaiah Naidu will administer the oath. Heavy rains disrupt normal life. The flood situation in Assam remains unchanged. River Brahmaputra and its tributaries in at least 10 districts are above the danger mark. Warning of a heavy rain and thunderstorm in over a dozen districts in Bihar. Heavy rains in Delhi, waterlogging in the low-lying areas affects traffic. Over 7.5 lakh people in India recover from COVID-19. The mortality rate falls further to 2.4%. The recovery rate improves to 63.12%. A serological survey shows that only 23.48% of Delhi population develops COVID-19 antibodies. The war against COVID-19 around the world continues. Over 1.5 crore COVID-19 cases reported globally. The death toll crosses 6.18 lakh. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says China has been exploiting the COVID pandemic to further its own interests globally. Mentioned the aggressive and expansionist policy of the Chinese regime from South China Sea to India. Also says that each country should behave in accordance with international system. Hello and welcome. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli, and first up, our top story on Prime Minister Modi's address to an India-US Business Summit. Prime Minister Modi will be addressing the India Idea Summit today. The summit is being hosted by the US-India Business Council on its 45th anniversary. The summit brings together officials from India and the US who are setting a post-COVID-19 agenda for cooperation.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at the India Idea Summit on Wednesday. The summit is being hosted by the US-India Business Council on its 45th anniversary. The theme for this year's India Idea Summit is Building a Better Future. The summit will witness discussions on areas including India-US cooperation and future of the relation between the two countries in a post-pandemic world. The participants in the summit will discuss a wide range of topics including the impact of coronavirus on global supply chains and healthcare collaboration between the US and India. As Prime Minister Modi navigates the twin challenges of managing the health impact of COVID-19 and the associated global economic disruption, his address will be keenly awaited. The virtual summit will feature a high-level presence from Indian and US government policy makers, state-level officials, and thought leaders from business and society. Other key speakers at the summit include Minister of External Affairs Dr. S. Shankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former US Ambassador to the United States Nikki Haley. The summit will also feature senior executives from top US and Indian companies, including CEO of Lockheed Martin, Tim Taiclet, and Chairman of Tata Sons, N. Chandrasekharan, DD India.
The Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal and the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman attended the 2020 India Idea Summit by the US-India Business Council through video conference. During the summit, the Commerce and Industry Ministry highlighted the friendship shared by India and the US, describing them as natural allies. He said the two countries have helped each other in the times of need, and with a trade agreement, this partnership will only strengthen. He said they need to work towards a sustainable, robust and enduring partnership. If not a free trade agreement, they can work out a preferential trade agreement with corresponding activities for the Indian businesses in the US.
Need to work towards a much more sustainable, a much more robust, a much more enduring partnership in the form of a free trade agreement to which India is willing to work with an open mind, with a willingness to open our hearts and our markets with a corresponding opportunity for Indian businesses in the US. We believe we should also look at an early harvest in the form of a preferential trade agreement so that we can, rather than waiting for the gains of a free trade agreement, which may take several years to conclude, we could look at an early harvest of maybe 50, maybe 100 products and services where we can engage with mutual trust and an open spirit.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman highlighted the structural reforms undertaken by the government during the lockdown to ensure the welfare of the people. She highlighted how the power consumption has increased, how the banking sector has been working smoothly, and the benefits given to farmers such as selling their produce wherever they desire to whomsoever they want. The minister also emphasized that the government is encouraging the private sector to participate in the various domains for better competition.
In India, there is no sector which is reserved for public sector alone to be present. We have announced that we will have a list of strategic sectors, which will be only a select few, and in only them will there be private sectors, public sector remaining. In other words, in every sector, private sector will be, every sector of economic activity, private sector will be invited. The public sector or the public sector undertakings will be present only in certain determined, predetermined, certain announced areas of activities. They will be only up to a maximum of 4 public sector organizations and not more. The private sector is going to be anywhere. So, simply put, there will not be any activity in India which will be the exclusive domain of the public sector undertakings.
And the minister also added that the government wants the MSME sector to be strong with a strong banking sector. She said that transparency, predictability and consistency in the policies are on top of government's mind. The government is monitoring the credit flow to the MSME on a daily basis. 1.8 crore rupees sanctioned so far against the target of 3 lakh crores rupees, and 85,000 crore rupee plus has already been disbursed.
We want India to be strong. We want India to be speaking from position of strength, particularly from the economic point of view. Our MSMEs contribute to over 40% of our exports. We want them to be strong. We want them to be supported by a banking system which is strong.
And the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari also attended the event and spoke on the MSME. Let's listen in.
Our MSMEs are doing excellent jobs. They are doing good exports. Their track record is very good. As far as the return on equity, return on investment, the Indian economic situation is really better in the whole world. Our interest cost is high.
Moving on now, the newly elected members of the Rajya Sabha will be sworn in today. Elections were held last month for 61 seats of 20 states. This is the first time that the members of the Rajya Sabha will be sworn in the House despite the Parliament not being in session, and the decision has been taken to maintain social distancing. Rajya Sabha Chairman M Venkaiah Naidu will administer the oath to these newly elected members. A seating area of 67 members has been ensured for social distancing in the Rajya Sabha. One member of the family or one other person can come along with the oath-taking member. Rajya Sabha Chairman M Venkaiah Naidu has taken the decision as the parliamentary committees of both the houses of parliament has started, and these new members have expressed their willingness to participate in it. Jyotiraditya Scindia and Digvijay Singh and Mallikarjun Kharge of the Congress, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha President and former Chief Minister Shibu Soren, Tiruchi Shiva of the DMK and Deepak Prakash of Jharkhand BJP may also take oath today. The members who will not be able to take oath today will take oath in the coming session. Out of a total of 61 members, 43 have reached the House for the first time. There are 12 members among them who have been re-elected after completing their tenure. On the 19th of the last month, Rajya Sabha elections were held in 20 states. The number of the BJP seats in the House has increased from 75 to 86 after this. And let's now take a look at the COVID impact in India. Over 7.5 lakh people have been cured of COVID-19 and discharged till now. The cumulative figure of recovered cases among COVID-19 patients to 7,53,049 as on date. The recovery rate has also improved to 63.12%. Medical attention is being provided to all the 4,11,133 active cases in hospitals and home isolation. The case fertility rate in the country continues to register a steady downfall. It has dropped to 2.4% as of now, and India has one of the lowest case fertility rates in the world. 28,732 patients have died so far. And COVID-19 induced lockdown will no longer be enforced in Bengaluru from today. No district of Karnataka will undergo lockdown in the future. The Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has said this while announcing the decision earlier on Tuesday. Though the Chief Minister has urged people to wear masks and observe social distancing norms in order to combat the spread of COVID-19 in the state. He's also said that strict measures in containment zones must be implemented. And Chennai continues to show stable numbers of COVID-19 cases, although it still tops the list in Tamil Nadu, accounting for 1,130 cases of the virus, followed by Tiruvallur with more than 365 and Virudunagar with 360. The total number of cases in Tamil Nadu so far stands at 1,80,643, with 4,894 persons recovered, taking the total number of recovered patients in Tamil Nadu to 1,26,670. And the Union Health Ministry had commissioned a sero-surveillance study in Delhi, the results of which are now available. The survey was conducted by the National Centre for Disease Control in collaboration with the Delhi government. The serological survey found that only 1 in 4 people in Delhi was infected by COVID-19. Less than 24% of Delhi's population was infected by COVID-19 shows that steps taken such as the lockdown and then the containment measures have been able to control the spread of the virus very effectively. This is also in spite of the fact that Delhi has many pockets of high population density. The survey was conducted between 27th of June and the 10th of July in all the 11 districts of Delhi. More than 21,000 samples were tested. The results of the survey will help to draw up an appropriate strategy to contain the spread of COVID-19 in Delhi. Moving on now, Vice President M Venkaiah Naidu unveiled the statue of Dr. R Ambedkar at the premises of the Controller and Auditor General, the CAG of India. The Vice President said that today the CAG is following Baba Saheb's vision.
Baba Saheb's life and work have inspired the entire nation, and it is heartening to see that the core values of the CAG, independence, objectivity, integrity, reliability, professional excellence, transparency and positive approach draws inspiration from his life and work. Today, the CAG has evolved as an enabler to Baba Saheb's vision that will not only ensure public financial accountability, but also act as a friend, philosopher, and guide of the executive. Many reports of the CAG and the consequent deliberations in the committee of the legislatures have led to various changes in the regular framework, governance, structures, and delivery mechanism of the government, thereby ensuring economy, efficiency, effectiveness of government operations.
And news now from the Supreme Court, which will today hear a plea of contempt of court against Advocate Prashant Bhushan. Prashant Bhushan is accused of making alleged derogatory remarks against judiciary. The Supreme Court has started the contempt proceedings by taking suo motu cognizance of Prashant Bhushan's comments on microblogging site Twitter. A bench of Justices Arun Mishra, B.R. Gawai and Krishna Murari will hear the matter today. Twitter has also been made a party in the case. Moving on now, Prime Minister Modi has congratulated the nuclear scientists on achieving the criticality of the Kakrapar Atomic Power Plant 3. He has also hailed the CAP-3 reactor as a shining example of Make in India and a trailblazer for many such future achievements. The top brass of the Air Force is meeting today on the first day of the Air Force Commanders Conference. The three-day biennial conference was today inaugurated by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. The theme of the conference is Indian Air Force in the next decade. The Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhaduria, also addressed the top commanders. During the three-day conference, the discussions will take place on the current operational scenario and deployments. The plan of action for operational capability enhancement of the Indian Air Force in the next decade will also be discussed. And moving on now to the flood situation in Assam, where it remains unchanged as the incessant rain in the past 3 days has slowed down the pace of improvement. 2 more persons have lost their lives yesterday, and with this, the flood-induced fatalities have reached 87. Another 26 people died due to landslide this year. More than 24 lakh people are still affected in 24 villages. 2,323 villages under 69 revenue circles and more than 1,10,000 hectares of cropland is submerged. 44,498 inmates are staying in 276 relief camps across the state. River Brahmaputra, along with most of its tributaries in at least 10 districts, are above the danger mark. So far, more than 200 embankments, 168 numbers of bridge and culvert, and above 1,600 roads have got damaged due to floods this year in Assam. The deluge has also caused massive erosion across the state, due to which the state has lost a vast amount of its land area this year too. And due to continuous rains in Bihar, the water level of many rivers of the state has again started increasing. The Met Department has issued warning of heavy rain and thunderstorm in over a dozen districts of heavy shower and thunder. As many as 16 people have lost their lives in lightning incidents during the past 24 hours in the state. Of these, 7 people have died in Banka, 3 each in Nalanda and Jamui, 1 each in East Champaran, Jehanabad and Nevada. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has announced an ex gratia of 4 lakh rupees each to the next of the kin of the deceased. The water level of the major rivers including Gandak, Bagmati, Kosi and Mahananda along with their tributaries has started rising. The water discharge in the Gandak barrage has almost reached its peak. Last night's discharge was around 4.3 lakh cusecs, and heavy rain has occurred in the catchment areas of various rivers during the past 24 hours. A population of around 3 lakh in 9 districts has so far been affected. In Muzaffarpur, the NDRF is continuing with relief and rescue efforts. And monsoon has swept many parts of the country. Himachal Pradesh is also witnessing massive rainfall since the past 3 days, leading the mercury to drop by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. The Indian Met Department has issued low visibility alert in the state for the next 2 days. The Met Department Director of Himachal Pradesh has said that Himachal Pradesh will see more rainfall with lightning and thunderstorm within the next 24 hours, while next 2 days will remain dry. That's till the 24th.
आज भी वाइड स्प्रेड बारिश होने की पॉसिबिलिटी है। कुछ एक जगह पे हैवी बारिश हो सकती है, जिसके लिए वार्निंग भी इशू की गई है। हैवी वार्न जो बारिश है वो हिमाचल प्रदेश के डिस्ट्रिक्ट शिमला, सोलन, सिरमौर, मंडी, बिलासपुर, हमीरपुर और साथ में डिस्ट्रिक्ट कांगड़ा और चंबा में जो है वो पॉसिबिलिटी है। तो इन इलाकों में एक दो स्थानों पे बारिश जो है वो हो सकती है, हैवी भी।
And in Uttar Pradesh, the total area of the proposed Ram Mandir under Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra in Ayodhya has been increased to 84,600 square feet. Earlier, the area was 37,590 square feet with 268.5 feet length, 140 feet width and 128 feet height. However, the construction design of the temple has been finalized as it has undergone 3 major changes. Now, 5 domes will be built instead of 3. The trust has named the temple as Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir that will be recorded at the forefront at the Lion Gate. The construction of the new temple is now 360 feet long, 235 feet wide and 161 feet high, which also has a mandap for kirtan and prayer, including the pavilion. Previously, where the temple had a capacity of 20,000 devotees, now it has increased to 50,000. However, steel will not be used anywhere in the temple, including the foundation, while the temple will be built on stones.
3 मंजिल बनेगा और 5 गुम्बद रहेंगे उसमें और भव्य दिव्य मंदिर का निर्माण होगा। हम 28 साल से देखे हैं और यहाँ हैं और बाकी यहीं रहे 90-92 में और तब से आज तक यही सेवा दे रहे हैं।
Rajasthan High Court has asked the Rajasthan Assembly Speaker to defer action on disqualification notices sent to dissident Congress MLAs till the 24th of this month. The court will pass an appropriate order on the writ petition filed by Sachin Pilot and 18 other dissident MLAs. On Friday, the court had given a 4-day reprieve to Pilot and others from any action by the Rajasthan Speaker by extending the hearing into their petition. Pilot was sacked as the Deputy Chief Minister and the President of the Rajasthan unit of the Congress Party after he rebelled against the Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. And moving on now to some sports news, Liverpool is all set to face Chelsea in the final home game of the season, and if they win, they will receive their first league trophy in 30 long years. Liverpool's fans have been urged by police and Jurgen Klopp to not gather in large crowds outside the on-field or in the city centre as the authorities try to prevent another spike in the COVID-19 cases. Liverpool won the Premier League and on 25th of June, and thousands of fans had turned up at the on-field stadium that night to celebrate the win. Merseyside police issued a dispersal order the next day after crowds gathered for a second consecutive night at the city centre near the Mersey ferry terminal. Klopp's team are hoping to finish the season with an unbeaten home record, but Chelsea need one more win from their remaining 2 matches to guarantee qualification for the next season's Champions League. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.